Hello, today I'm back with the ranking. Today I'll be ranking all the Slipknot albums, just focusing on the main studio albums, not including any EPs, live albums, compilations, or anything like that. Again, just the main studio albums. And yeah, I'm surprised I haven't done this ranking sooner. I mean, Slipknot is a band that I got into at a fairly young age. I didn't even enter middle school yet. I think I became a fan around like 5th or 6th grade. I think I heard Before I Forget on Guitar Hero 3, and I checked out the Volume 3 album and been a fan ever since. So, yeah, definitely a great band. I still enjoy their music today. Let's go ahead and dive into this ranking. Now, I'll be going from worst to best. Keep in mind, this is just my personal ranking. You don't have to agree with it, but feel free to let me know your ranking in the comment section below. So at the bottom, honestly, this was an easy one for me. Now, this is not a bad album. I'd say it's good, but not great or amazing. But again, that's just my opinion. But at the bottom, I have point 5, The Gray Chapter. So when this album came out, I was into it more the first half than the second half, but the second half was not bad though. But yeah, out of all their albums, this is the album that I probably reached the least for. And for me, it doesn't have as many memorable songs as some of their other albums, but again, just my personal opinion. But yeah, overall a solid, good album. I mean, some of my favorites on here: AOV, Devil and I, Kill Pop, The Negative One's another good one on here. I do like Sarcastrophe. But yeah, there's some pretty good songs on here, but again, not an album that I reach for as much as some of their other albums. And now we're going to go ahead and move on to their album, All Hope Is Gone. And yeah, another good album. I do like this one a little bit more than The Gray Chapter, but some of my favorites on here, I mean, you got Sulfur and Psychosocial on here, which are some of their bigger songs, especially Psychosocial, a song that I still really enjoy. Even the more melodic song on here, Dead Memories, I really like that one. And yeah, I do have the song Snuff, which, yeah, you can definitely hear the Stone Sour isms in that song, but still, I do dig that track. But you have track number 8, Gehenna. That's maybe a song that's growing to be maybe one of my favorite Slipknot songs. I absolutely love it. It's darker, more brooding, moody, however you want to put it. But again, I really dig that song. Probably one of my favorites on here. But yeah, this album might have a few skippable songs on here, but overall, still a good album. But I wouldn't rank it as one of their best, though. But next in the ranking, we're going to go with the latest album, The End So Far. So yeah, with this album, I did get the box set, and I did do an unboxing video for this, so if you haven't seen that, definitely check it out if you're interested in seeing what the box set looks like. But it came with the CD, and it also came with this shirt right here. So yeah, pretty cool. But anyways, back to the album. Overall, pretty good album. I actually enjoyed this album more than I expected, but some of my favorites on here: The Dying Song, Chapeltown Rag, which at first wasn't one of my favorites during my first listen of the whole album, but it's grown to be one of my favorites now, probably in my top 5 on the album. And then we have Medicine for the Dead, which might grow to be one of my favorite Slipknot songs. For whatever reason, I'm just really loving that song. Warranty's definitely a banger, definitely classic Slipknot. I really like that song a lot. Day Sod's pretty good. I might not reach for that song as much as some of the other songs on here, but still overall pretty good. Hive Mind's another highlight off the album for me. But yeah, overall, pretty good album from Slipknot. And now we're going to go ahead and move on to the album that came before it, and that is We Are Not Your Kind. Now, maybe there'll be a point where The End So Far might surpass this album, but as of now, I probably like this album more. But yeah, I was really into this album when it first came out. 2019, if I got the year right, yeah, 2019. That was definitely a pretty good year in my opinion for rock and metal, but this album, I mean, some of my favorites, Unsainted, Birth of the Cruel is a contender for maybe being my favorite song on here. I really like that song a lot. Nero Forte, which is one of the fan favorites on here. I really like that song, another favorite of mine on the album. Critical Darling's also pretty good. Orphan, I think, is kind of an underrated song at this point. I'm not sure if I'd rank it as one of my favorites on here. I mean, if I were to rank the songs on here, it'd probably be closer to the middle, but still with saying that, I still think the song is kind of underrated. Same with the song Spiders, one of the more experimental songs on the album, but I really like that one, a song that's going to be one of my favorites on the album. If you like older Slipknot, then you'll like the song Red Flag, another pretty good song on here, but yeah. Honestly, all around, I'd say still a pretty good album from Slipknot. And then we're going to go ahead and move to the album that really got me into the band, pretty much was the gateway, especially with a certain song on the album, that song being Before I Forget. And of course, the album that I am talking about is Volume 3. I definitely have a really big soft spot for this album, especially with tracks like Before I Forget and Prelude 3.0 and Duality. I mean, whenever I hear Prelude 3.0, I just sometimes remember playing my PS2. I can't remember the game, but there's a certain game that comes to my mind, or a certain part of the game that comes to my mind whenever I hear that song sometimes. But I think that's maybe one of my favorite intros from the band. I mean, I'm not sure if I'm alone in that, we'll see, but for me, I actually really like Prelude 3.0. I think that it starts off the album in a fairly well manner. The Blister Exists is another highlight on the album for me, definitely another banger from Slipknot. Duality, definitely one of their best songs at this point. Welcome and Opium of the People are two songs that I think are kind of underrated. Same with the song The Nameless. If I remember correctly, that song got a music video. Definitely one of their more underrated songs, especially when it comes to the second half of the album. The Nameless, kind of an overlooked song. I really like that one. But yeah. You also have Vermilion and also Part 2, which are songs that I do like. Never loved, but I do like though. But yeah. Pretty good album from Slipknot, and definitely one of my favorites. But now we're going to go ahead and move on to an album that's often considered maybe their best, or at least one of their best, and that is their album Iowa. Now I can see why some people might put this album at the top, and I totally understand, but something else had to be at the top for me. But still, second place in the ranking, definitely not bad, and of course easily one of Slipknot's best, and I'm sure most fans would agree with me on that. But some of my favorites on here, of course the singles on here are great. People Equal Shit, My Plague, and Left Behind, definitely great songs. But even the lesser known songs or deep cuts on the album I think are pretty dang good. I really like The Shape. I really like that song. New Abortion's pretty good, a song that's going to be one of my favorites, especially in the second half of the album. Of course, Disasterpiece is another highlight on the album too. Heretic Anthem is a fairly catchy banger of a song from Slipknot also. But yeah, all around, pretty good album from Slipknot. Definitely one of their classic albums. Now we're going to go ahead and move on to my number one, and pretty much obvious at this point, but it is the self-titled debut. This was an album that I listened to a lot when I was younger. Probably at maybe too young of an age, but it is what it is. What can you do? I mean, when you hear something you really like, what are you gonna do? But yeah. This is another album in their discography, kind of like with Volume 3, that I definitely have a soft spot for. I mean, some of my favorites on here, I mean, Sick, Eyeless, Wait and Bleed, Spit It Out, Surfacing. I mean, that first half of the album is really strong. But even, you get some pretty cool stuff towards the second half too. Some songs that you can maybe say are kind of overlooked, maybe a tad underrated, like Deluded and No Life. Liberate's another favorite of mine on the album. Tired and Torn, kind of an odd song, but still, I really dig that one. But yeah, still all these years later, probably my favorite Slipknot album. But yeah, the self-titled debut is my number one. But anyways, let me know your thoughts on my ranking. Let me know if your ranking differs. Let me know if some of my placements are the same as yours or different from yours. Let me know some of your favorite, at least favorite albums or songs from the band and all that good stuff. But anyways, thanks for watching. Please leave a comment and a like. Subscribe. Have a nice day and take care.